Worldwide, that's this year alone. Just how big is that in relation to sales? Well, the automaker sold 9.7 million vehicles in all of 2013.
Despite all that, GM sales rose 12.6% in May. This is the best sales month since August 2008. So what's going on? It seems to be a little bit of a disconnect here. Let's bring in Jeff Locke, who is live at a GMC dealership, and Lauren Fix, the car coach. Great to see you both. So, Jeff, I know dealers always love to put a happy face on everything, but when you get him in a back room, maybe he brings out the bottle from the lower drawer and shares a glass with you. What do they say? What are they worried about as far as all these recalls?
Well, you know, I'll tell you, and we just did that with Woody here at Woody Buick GMC, and he says these recalls are actually bringing people in because they're people that are coming in, not just they're bringing people in because they have to get their car repaired, and this is an opportunity to make a sale. And he has actually had his best month ever last month because of all the recalls.
Oh, my goodness.
It sounds crazy, but it's kind of true. I mean, he showed me the numbers.
Lauren, look, 44 recalls this year, and maybe Americans are getting inured, certainly, but what happens next? Mary Barr is supposed to testify tomorrow before members of Congress, and can any kind of stumble, how important is it for her to be spot on and have all the answers?
Oh, I'm sure she will be spot on. There's a 325-page Volucas report. I think she's actually shown really good leadership by firing 15 people right out of the box. And Ray DeGiorgio is listed 207 times inside that 325-page report, including on the first page. So I think that he must have been the guy that they're going to try and pass blame on. Of course, you know, we don't have all the behind-the-scenes details, but they are still interviewing current and past employees to find out what was going on. So I have a feeling she's going to really stand by that report and also stand by putting together this fund that's going to go to people that were injured. The only thing I think is a negative is the fact that someone sitting in the back seat has no money coming out of that fund.
Well, Lauren, I'm just wondering, though, if she has lost a little bit of her goodwill from Congress. I mean, it was an internal report. I mean, it's not like a completely independent. I know they like to say it is, but it never is when they're the ones who pay for their own report. So hasn't she lost a little bit of the goodwill? Won't she face a little bit tougher questioning than perhaps she saw last time?
Oh, I expect she'll receive very tough questions. And the thing is, once one of these, you know, congressmen decide to latch their teeth onto something, they're going to go after her saying, you know, weren't you in charge of global safety? How come you didn't know about this? Of course, that's explained in the Volucas report, what they call the GM nod. You sit in a meeting, no one takes attendance, and we all nod and go, yeah, Dave, you got that right, and then nothing ever happens. So these are things that do happen.
Jeff, look, with all of these recalls, only some of them were fatal and related to the ignition key switch issue. And then there are others that are way more minor. It's almost as if the company is so gun-shy or worried that hair trigger, they're just recalling anything that may even be very minor. Do you think that every time somebody walks into a GM dealership nowadays, they're thinking about that, or they're saying, these things happen, let's move forward, the problem's over?
I think they were saying that, but I tell you, this last recall is a little bit troubling because it's 3 million more cars, and here's what it's about. I've got one of these keys. This is a slotted key, and this is about the ignition again, and what happens is, on this recall, apparently because the key has a slot, it can get some torque going when it starts to shake like that, and if you go over a pothole or something, it's enough torque to actually turn the car off, and then you lose power steering, you lose power braking, and your airbags don't deploy. And I'll tell you, with 3 million more cars with that problem on top of the cobalt problems, people start to wonder, wait a minute, are any GM ignitions really safe? I mean, go home and check your ignition, see if it can rattle out of that start position, because if so, I mean, that becomes a huge issue. So I'm sure she's going to get hit on that, too.
And, Lauren, we haven't quite heard all we're going to hear from the Ralph Nader. In fact, we're going to hear Ralph Nader right here tomorrow. Ralph Nader is going to be on our show. And while some of what he said has been discounted as, oh, that's just Ralph Nader going on again, Jeff brings up some great points. There are certain things that may be tougher that come out about all this as we get beyond this report and get more independent reports about the trouble with GM cars. Won't that eventually mean less sales and perhaps a devaluation of the stock?
Well, it's possible the stock will be devalued, but Jeff is right. As someone, I used to be a dealer trainer, and we train the dealers. When someone comes in for service or to buy parts, this is your opportunity to go out as a sales guy and say, hey, I'm sorry you had a problem with your whatever car, your Cobalt, whatever it might be. Come on in the showroom, let me show you what we're doing that's better. And so if a smart dealer is using it to increase sales, a dealer that's not as on top of it, it will actually not help them at all.
Love these dealers.
Indeed.
All right, Lauren Fix, Jeff Flock, great stuff. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
High-speed trading has been